All right, you know what time it is. Live from the Bare Muscle Garage, it's time for Fit Crew. What do we got in store for you today? Let's go ahead and share this on screen. So for today's workout, we've got a nice 4-rounder for you here. We're going to be doing 4 rounds of 10 push presses, 10 GHD sit-ups, and a 200-meter run. And we may be looking at this thinking, I don't know what a GHD is, and some of this looks kind of crazy, don't have space to run. Don't worry, guys. As always, we're going to warm up really well. And we're going to go through all the options that will allow you to do this workout or your version of it. Right where you are, using what you have and doing what you can. But let's go ahead and start this general warm-up. Here we go. Let's get some arm circles going back, arm circles back. And as you know, my name is Coach Chris. I am a level 3 CrossFit trainer, which means I've logged thousands of hours over many years, helping many people just like you live their best life through health and fitness. Let's move on to arms across the chest. Hug yourself, love yourself. One of the ways I've been privileged to help you guys live your best life is through the Habit Master Challenge. And in this Habit Master Challenge, what are we doing? We are taking an honest look at all of our habits, the habits that really matter, the habits that produce results. Our water, our sleep, our meal planning, our flexi time, and of course, the WODs. Let's move on to the wrist wave. And when we reach our target goals for each of these habits, then we get to log that X on the Habit Master spreadsheet. And the more X's, the more points we get, the more badges we earn, the more results we see. It's as simple as that. And let's now move on to some high knees. High knees into chest. Or if it works better, we can do some high elbows like this. And then at the end of the month, we get awarded our badges. But what keeps us motivated throughout the month? Of course, our personal results are very motivational. But additionally, we have the top 10 that we see every week. And how motivating is it to see your name up there? You're putting in that work. And you're in a great group, the cream of the crop, the top 10 that's really dedicated to those habits and reaching your goals. And let's go ahead and move on to some calf raises. Up on the toe, back on the heel. Or if it works better, we could do some wrist extensions like this. And so the Habit Master Challenge has certainly been motivating because we focus on the simple fundamental habits that are always going to be important. No matter what fads come our way, all of us need to be focusing on drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, eating the right things, and doing what we can as far as moving our bodies. Let's not focus on what we can't, but let's focus on what we can. Doing as much of the flexi time routine as we can. Doing the WODs, or at least just the warm-ups for the WODs, if that's all we feel like doing. And let's move on to some jumping jacks. Or we could do some stepping jacks if we want low impact. So are you ready to really become a habit master? Then please click that link that's in this video, or feel free to message me directly for details on how to get on track and join the challenge. Let's take a break from this warm-up, and we're going to move on to the activation phase, which is where we're going to do a couple different moves that are going to help us to get specifically ready for today's workout. So the first move we're going to do is Superman's, and let's go ahead and have Twin One demonstrate 2 Supermans for us. And if we're doing this from the seated position, then the Superman is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 Supermans together. So a couple things to keep in mind here. We've got those arms out in front of us, legs back, and we are raising those arms and those legs, holding the top there for about 2 seconds before coming back down. And this Superman is very important for us to dial in that arch position and activate all these muscles on the posterior. So good job here on these Supermans. Next, we're going to do some straight leg sit-ups. And let's go ahead and have Pippi demonstrate 2 straight leg sit-ups for us. And if we're doing this from the seated position, then the straight leg sit-ups are going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 straight leg sit-ups together. So a couple things to keep in mind. We are laying back with those arms behind us, and we are swinging those arms for momentum, reaching toward the toes if we could reach them. Otherwise, just reaching as far as we can, getting the shoulders in front of the hips at the top. Now, it could be that this is a very challenging core movement for some of us, in which case we may choose to do some lying single leg raises. And let's have Pippi demonstrate a couple reps here. We're laying on our back. We're going to point the toe and then raise that one leg as high as we can, up to about 90 degrees, doing that about 5 reps on one side before switching and doing 5 on the other side. But good job on these straight leg sit-ups. Next, we're going to do some reverse plank ups. And let's go ahead and have twin 1 demonstrate 2 reverse plank ups for us. And if we're doing this from the seated position, then we're going to do some reverse chest flies like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reverse plank ups together. So on the reverse plank up, we've got those hands to the side and those legs straight out in front of us, and we are squeezing those glutes, raising the hips as high as we can in the air. Now, this could be hard on the wrist for many of us, in which case we may choose to do the glute bridge like we see Pippi doing here. We're laying on the back. We are squeezing those glutes, raising the hips as high as we can, getting higher and higher each rep. So whichever version you choose to do, good job on either these reverse plank ups or the reverse plank ups or the glute bridges, whichever version is better for you. Next, we're going to roll over and do the dynamic calf stretch. And let's go ahead and have Pippi demonstrate 2 reps for us. And if we're doing this from the seated position, then we're going to do some dynamic elbows like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps on each leg. So on this dynamic calf stretch, we are piking the hips up in the air and we are bending the one knee, pulling that back heel into the ground, holding that for about 2 seconds before switching sides. Now, it could be that doing this off the ground is a bit of a challenge, in which case we would choose to do this off of an inclined surface, just like we see Anita doing here. We could do this off of a counter or off a sofa or any other inclined surface. And we're going to get into an inclined pike position, bending that one knee and then pulling that back heel into the ground. But good job here on this dynamic calf, whether we're doing this off the ground or whatever version is better for us. Next, we're going to do some standing high knees, but we're going to add a hip circle to really open up those hip flexors. So we're going to get that one knee up and then circle out to the side, up, circle out to the side, alternating like this. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then we're going to do some alternating forward arm raises with a lateral lower down to the side like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of these high knee hip circles on each side. Now it could be that, hey, balance is a bit of a challenge on this, which is fine. We can grab a hold on to whatever we need to, a nice sturdy object near us, and we can use that for support and balance as well. But on these high knee hip circles, we are getting those knees up above the hip level and then out to the side, and with a slight shift in the weight there to help us to keep that balance. But good job here on these high knee hip circles. Next, we're going to do some reverse lunges, and let's have Pippi demonstrate 2 reps of the reverse lunge for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the reverse lunge is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of reverse lunges together. So it could be that getting that knee all the way to the ground is a bit of a challenge, in which case we may choose to do some step downs, just like we see Millicent doing here. We're going to have a nice sturdy surface that we feel comfortable stepping up onto. And with both feet up on that object, we're going to alternate stepping down, which replicates the reverse lunge motion pretty well without as much shear tension on the knee. But if we're doing this reverse lunge as prescribed, we're taking a big step back, slightly to the side, and notice the knee protection there. Twin 1 has that mat for knee protection. So if you happen to have a surface like a floor matting or things like that, that is ideal here on these reverse lunges. But good job on the reverse lunge. Next, what I'd like everyone to do is let's go ahead and grab a broomstick or a mop or one of these things. If you know, you know. So we want nothing heavier than a broomstick right now. We're going to do some extra shoulder mobility. Plus, we always start super light before we go heavy, if at all. So with this light object in hand, we're going to do some pass-throughs. And let's go ahead and have Pippi demonstrate 2 pass-throughs for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the pass-through is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 pass-throughs together. So a couple things to keep in mind. We've got a nice wide grip on that broomstick, and we are pulling that up and over all the way around, touching that lower back in the back, belly button in the front, and most importantly, the pass-through smile, which relaxes those muscles and helps us to have a nice fluid range of motion. And so good job here on these pass-throughs. And finally, we're going to do some strict press. And let's go ahead and have Twin 1 demonstrate 2 reps of the strict press for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the strict press is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of the strict press together. So on the strict press, the feet are going to be close together underneath the hips. We're going to have those hands right outside the shoulders, and we want those elbows nice and high in the rack position. And then we're going to take a deep breath in and brace that core, pressing that broomstick up and back as we press the head through, locking that out overhead. And then, of course, we want to bring that down slow, elbows pointing up at the bottom every single time. And so good job here on this strict press. Well, that is it for the activation phase. Now we're going to move on to the movement prep, which is where we're going to practice specifically the 3 moves that we're doing in today's workout. The first move is the push press. And let's go ahead and have Twin 1 demonstrate 2 reps of the push press for us. And if we're doing this from the seated position, then the push press is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of the push press together. So the push press is going to start in the same position as that strict press, except now we're using the power of the hips and the legs to help press this out overhead. And so we've got that bar in the rack position, and we initiate a dip by bending the knees and the hips, keeping the chest nice and upright in that dip. And so we don't want to bend forward in the dip. We want to bend the knees and the hips in order to keep that chest nice and upright. But then we are driving through the heels and then pressing that out, locking that overhead as we press the arm backward and the head through. And so good job here on the push press. The second move that we're doing in today's workout is GHD sit-ups. Now, the GHD is an awesome piece of apparatus that helps us to add range of motion and challenge to the sit-up if we're prepared for it. And many of us don't have a GHD, so we're going to add some challenge to these sit-ups by adding a little bit of weight and doing some weighted sit-ups. And so what I'd like you to do is to grab a light dumbbell, and let's look on as Twin 1 demonstrates the weighted sit-up for us. Now notice what she is doing. She's hugging the dumbbell and then sitting all the way up, getting the shoulders through. What she's not doing is punching out the dumbbell. Let's see a couple reps of what we're not supposed to do. So notice that is not what we are doing. That actually is a way to scale down the sit-up and make it less challenging. What would be preferred if the weighted sit-up is actually very challenging for us is to just do that without the weight. Perhaps we can try just folding the arms across the chest and seeing if that's appropriate for us. Or if needed, we could just do the version that we did in the activation phase, getting those arms behind us, swinging those arms for momentum as much as needed. Or even those lying single leg raises. And let's see a couple reps there just to remind us. And if we're doing this from the seated position, then the weighted sit-up is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of the weighted sit-up or whatever version of that is appropriate for us. Now, it could be that we do happen to have a bench that declines, just like Team DNA over there. And if you happen to have a bench that declines and you'd like to add a little bit of range of motion, you may certainly feel free to do that as well. You get your feet securely into whatever stirrups or pads that you have there. And then before each and every rep, we want to take a nice deep breath to brace that core and get all the way back. And then we are getting those shoulders in front of the hips at the top. For an added challenge, maybe even reaching for those pads at the bottom. But if we're doing this on the ground as prescribed, like we talked about, let's pick the version that's better for us. If we can hug the weight and complete the range of motion, great. Otherwise, if we need to do some other version of this movement, that is completely fine as well. But good job on whatever version of the weighted sit-up or decline sit-up that we choose to do. The third move that we're doing in today's workout is a 200-meter run. And what I'd like us to do right now is if you happen to have a running track or space that you can run perhaps outside or whatever the case, we're looking for this run to take us about a minute or less today. And so what I'd like you to do is to do a nice 30-second run in one direction, then turn around and come back, and we'll see how much distance that is. But most of us are probably going to be doing this inside, and we're going to be replacing the 200-meter run with 10 shuttle runs with no taps in between. And to demonstrate these shuttle runs, let's go ahead and have Pippi demonstrate 2 shuttle runs for us. And so notice this in place version is 20 high knees, and she's using the finger counting method. So she's already done 1 set of 20 high knees, and then she's just done 2 sets of 20 high knees. Now, preferably, if we happen to have a 25-foot span of space that we can run down and back, let's have Twin 1 demonstrate here 2 versions of the 50-foot shuttle run, where we're running 25 feet, and then without tapping the ground, we are running back, and then boom, doing that again for the second rep. No tapping on either side. And if we're doing this from the seated position, then each shuttle run is going to be 20 arm raises. And then after each set of 20, we can clap those hands or use the finger counting method. So let's all join in here. Let's do 5 shuttle runs, doing whatever version is better for us. So we have lots of different versions here that we can choose. Preferably, if we have a 25-foot span of space that we can run down and run back, that is ideal. But if we're doing these shuttle runs in place, that also works as well. And if we happen to have a place that we can run outside and enjoy the weather, like Pippi in South Florida, that is also great as well. But good job here on these shuttle runs, no matter which version that we choose to do. Well, now it's ramp up time. If you've been earning badges and you'd like to add some weight to do either the scaled, intermediate, or RX weight in today's workout, then let's start to gradually add some weight, doing about 5 to 7 push presses at a time, adding a little bit of weight each time until we get to the weight that we want to use for our division. But if we have not been earning badges, or we're just getting back into this after a long time off, then please, let's not add any weight. That super lightweight that we just used in the warm-up is going to be more than enough for us today. It's very important that we have the right form and consistency with all our habits. before we've earned the right to add or reintroduce intensity, such as by adding weight or going fast. And whether we're adding weight or not, let's pay close attention to the following checklist. Number 1, please make sure your device is fully charged or plugged in, so we can get through this whole workout without losing you. Number 2, let's grab some water. Let's take a sip. Let's make sure we got our water nearby so we can take a sip as needed all throughout the workout. Number 3, I'm going to give everyone a 3, 2, 1, go countdown. And that's how you can synchronize your timer with mine if you choose to use one. Number 4, music. Super important. And we definitely want some jams that are going to keep us motivated all throughout these 4 rounds. So what's on your playlist? You can blast your music as loud as you want, as long as you can still hear me helping you throughout the workout. And lastly, how are we keeping track of these rounds? You already know it's easy to lose track of where we are, what we're doing, what even our name is, because we get that WOD brain in the middle of all this. So the best way to keep track of things is having the workout written down close by, perhaps even with some type of scorecard. So if you're a teacher's pet like Mighty Mouse or Millicent, let's go ahead and show that whiteboard on screen. And we're about to take the teacher's pet picture. So here we go, guys. Teacher's pet picture in 3, 2, 1. Awesome. I'm going to bring the workout back on screen one more time, and then we'll get going. So in just about a minute, we're going to start this timer. And we're about to do this 4-round workout, which is 10 push presses, 10 GHD sit-ups, and a 200-meter run. Now, most of us are doing the at-home version of this, which is the 10 push presses. That's the same. For the GHD sit-ups, most of us are doing the weighted sit-ups, if we can handle the weight. Otherwise, let's try to challenge ourselves with the sit-ups with the arms folded across the chest. Or we could swing those arms as much as needed for momentum, doing the straight leg sit-ups or even those single leg raises. If we happen to have a decline bench that we feel like we can safely use, then that's another option for us as well. For the 200-meter run, most of us are doing these 10 sets of shuttle runs each round. So each shuttle run is 20 high knees or the 25 feet down and back, which is 50 feet each. Now, if we happen to have a space that we can run, if you can run 200 meters in less than a minute, then let's stick with the 200 meters. But if we need to scale that distance down to 100 meters or maybe even 150, somewhere in between, we're looking to keep all these runs at about a minute or so each round. So your score is going to be the time it takes you to get through these 4 rounds of 10 push presses, 10 weighted or declined sit-ups, and 10 sets of shuttle runs each round. So if you're good to go, give me a thumbs up over here and we'll get this started. I'm going to give us a 10-second countdown, and then I'm going to highlight twin 1 to get us going. So here we go, guys. 10 push presses, 10 weighted sit-ups, 10 sets of shuttle runs. How long is it going to be? Let's find out. Starting in 10 seconds. Let's get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. And we are off. Twin 1, cleaning that bar into the rack position. And then, boom, using those hips, using those legs to help press that out overhead. And notice we've got team DNA cooperating using the same space, starting at different stations. That's completely fine. If you've got yourself a WOD buddy and we've got to share some equipment, we can get creative and start wherever we need to. But we are getting some hip in that dip, driving through the heels, pressing that through. And of course, we've got Mighty Mouse up and out the seat, been doing much more standing these days, so awesome to see Mighty Mouse progress. And we are now moving on to the sit-ups. We've got Mighty Mouse doing some standing leg raises, 10 each leg. Twin one, hugging that weight. Iron Man Dean doing the decline bench while Anita is hitting those 15-meter shuttle runs, 7.5 meters down and back. And Pippi as well, hugging that weight, getting that full range of motion. Shoulders past the hips. Millicent finishing off those sit-ups and about to take off on the shuttle runs. Twin one deep into these shuttle runs. And notice we're not tapping on these shuttle runs today. We are replacing a 200-meter run. So when we do this, we take out that tap. And Pippi enjoying the South Florida weather, heading out on that run. And she'll be back when she's done. But love to see everyone making full use of all the options available to them. And after we finish these 10 sets of shuttle runs, we're going to be moving on to round 2. So it looks like we got Anita finishing off the round with the push presses here. Since she started on the sit-ups, we're hitting that dip, getting the head through, pressing that out. But nice work here. Everyone almost finishing the first round with these 10 sets of shuttle runs each round. Let's make sure we are counting right here. It's very easy to lose track. But Pippi coming back from that run and just about ready to get into this round 2 here. Cleaning up that bar, getting some hip in that dip, pressing that out, locking that out. Twin one as well, deep into this second round of push presses. And so nice work here, everyone. And it looks like everyone is on track to finish within today's target window. And the target window is nothing more than the best way to help us to know if we pick the right weights and the right movement options in order to get the appropriate level of challenge for today's workout. And the goal is to pick the weights and to do the moves that help us to finish within the target window of time, or in the case of an AMRAP style workout, the target number of rounds. But we are deep into the sit-ups in this second round. Deep breath in, bracing that core. Millicent heading out to do the second set of 10 shuttle runs here. Twin one as well. But everyone on track here, moving, breathing, getting through this. And we've got Pippi getting up and out, getting ready to run. But nice work here, guys. Breathing, getting through it. Team DNA sharing the running track, playing nice with each other. But awesome work here, guys. Running down, running back. Closing out round 2. Getting that dip, pressing the head through, pressing those arms back. Just like that, most of us just about finishing out round 2, but going to be moving on to round 3 here. Pippi taking a breather, about to grab that bar and go for it. So nice work here, guys. Every single rep, let's respect that bar, hitting that dip, pressing the head through, pressing those arms back. Legs, then arms. It's very easy to push first with the arms, but we want that pop from the hip first. And then we are finishing with the arms at the top on this push press. But nice work here. We are getting through this. Iron Man Dean. And let's get some hip in that dip there, Dean. Get some hip. Boom. Drive with the legs. Just one dip. Drive and lock. Just one dip. Drive and lock. Nice work here. Let's go, let's go, let's go. We are on this. Number of us closing out round 3, getting going on that run. Deep breaths, guys. Let's give those muscles oxygen, and let's keep getting full range of motion all the way up, all the way down, no matter what move we're doing. On these shuttle runs, all the way down, all the way back. Getting right into this next set. Need a finishing off round 3 with the push presses. Hitting that dip. Hitting the head through. But nice work here, guys. Breathing. Closing out round 3, and then we're going to be heading into round 4. And we are now at the lower end of this target window here, so twin 1. About to pick up that bar, Pippi. Taking a breather, about to pick up that bar. And let's close out this last round here, guys. Getting some hip in that dip, drive and lock. Hip in that dip, drive and lock. And those who've been doing this program for a while, we understand the power of pacing. We don't start too fast like a jackrabbit. We come out with a pace that we can sustain so that we can even go faster toward the end. We lean into that last round, fast round mentality. And that's definitely what we see Pippi and Twin 1 doing here, racing neck and neck. Finishing off some sit-ups in this last round. Iron Man Dean on this last round of the bar. Body mounts on this last round of leg raises. And there goes Twin 1 taking off for the first of these last set of 10 shuttle runs here. Pippi as well. Heading out for that run. Deep breaths. We are racing. We are pushing. Let's go. Let's push. Let's move. We are doing this, guys. Twin 1 turning on the afterburners, leaning into these shuttle runs, racing for the victory today. Let's see who's gonna take it, and we know what we do. When we cross that finish line, we hit that buzzer, we yell time, we cheer on our family. And Pippi is back across the finish line. Twin 1 across that finish line. Team DNA almost there. Mighty Mouse across the finish line. And it looks like Anita on that victory dance, cheering on Dean. Dean almost done. Millicent on that victory dance. So let's just cheer on Iron Man Dean here. Almost there. Still within the window.
Let's go, Dean.
Couple more runs for Iron Man Dean. Still within the window. And time for Dean. Well, as always, that was a super exciting race. But now we're at the best part of the workout, which is the cool down stretch. And this stretch is super important to help us fight soreness, increase flexibility, so we can come back day after day, staying consistent and committed. So the first stretch we're going to do today is the Samson stretch. And that's going to be, we're starting in a standing position like this, and we're getting into a nice long lunge like that. And optionally, we are twisting toward that front knee. Notice we're not twisting this way. We get no benefit from doing that. We're twisting toward the front knee and even perhaps turning that back palm upward. Now, if this is kind of challenging for us, then we can just get those legs out in front of us on the ground and twist toward the right like this. And while we're here, let's hear some high-low buffalo. So let's hear first from Twin 1. And if we're doing this from the seated position, once again, we can just hold on to whatever we need to, twisting toward the right. But what is your high-low buffalo, Twin 1?
Whew. So my high was, my energy levels were up today, so I was able to go quicker. And my low was, I don't think I had a low today, but the buffalo was that I was able to push through those push presses better than I usually do. I usually really struggle with upper body, but I kept breathing through it and trying to hit it quick. So I'm happy that got this workout done.
And notice some strong energy coming from your direction as well. So good job on those push presses. Good job, especially in those shuttle runs is what I noticed. That lean into that last round as you were trying to edge out Pippi there by even a fraction of a second. But love the friendly competition we got going on. We're going to switch now into the half split. So we're forward right now, but then we're going to shift those hips back, straighten out that leg, and lower the chest in toward that knee. Notice we're not bending this leg into the chest. Let's just keep the leg straight and then get as low as we naturally can. And while we're hitting the half split on this side, let's hear high-low buffalo from Pippi. And if we're doing this from the seated position, then we can get that elbow up and pull to the side. Or if we were sitting on the ground, we can straighten the one leg and reach toward the toe, however close we can get. But what is your high-low buffalo, Pippi?
My high today would be, I would say, the run. Felt good today, maybe because we did a little run on Sunday, warmed me up there. And actually, we also did it again this week. So yeah, lots of running lately, which actually is good to help the stamina with that. I feel much better with that. Low would be, just my upper body, is my weak point. But I felt good that I could keep my form and my pace with a push press. So that was good. And buffalo, I like this. I like sit-ups. So I like that I picked a challenging weight for me, and I was happy that I still kept a good pace even with that weight for me.
Agreed. Yeah, that running training definitely coming in handy. And I'm seeing some progress with the upper body strength. And then, of course, all the core moves are your jam. And so great work today, Pippi. And let's go ahead and Samson stretch on the other side now. So we're getting into that nice long lunge forward like this. Optionally, we can twist toward that other knee and get that back palm upward. Or like we said, if we're doing this from the ground, then all we're doing is that twist in this direction. Now, at the beginning of the episode, we mentioned the Habit Master Challenge and how it's helped you all to stay on track. And let's hear from our heavy hitter, Millicent, who is habitually in the top 10 each week. And so, how has the Habit Master Challenge motivated you, and especially this top 10? And if we're doing this from the seated position, we're just holding on to whatever we need to, twisting toward the left.
Yes, the Habit Master has given me a lot of encouragement because it has helped me to do a lot of things that I should have been doing. And sometimes I was half doing them, sometimes I wasn't. So it helped me to be consistent with my water. And I could get to sleep, but I wasn't going to bed. So now I make sure I get 8 hours of sleep no matter what time I go to bed so that I can put my X's down and then plan my meals. That's helpful. So when I saw my name on the top 10, usually we see it at the end of the month. So we saw it early and it made me feel encouraged. So now I want to stay in the top 10. So I got to keep on making sure I do what I do so that I can stay there. Thank you, Coach.
And I'm sure you will. Thank you so much for your great example, Millicent. And it's really inspiring and shows that, listen, we just need to focus on these fundamental habits, log early, log often, and never know where we'll end up on that leaderboard. And let's go ahead and switch to the half split on this side. And so we've got that leg straight now. We're leaning the chest in toward that knee. If we happen to be doing this from the ground, we're now outstretching the other leg, reaching toward that front toe, if we can reach it, or as close as we can. And let's now hear from Mighty Mouse, who is also up in that top 10 regularly, logging those points. How has this Habit Master Challenge motivated you, and especially this top 10? And if we're doing this from the seated position, we can get the other arm up and pull to the side like this.
With being on the Habit Master, with especially seeing my name on the top 10, I didn't normally just try to make sure I log. But when seeing your name up there, it pushes you and it makes you say, okay, I don't want to lose that spot. But it's definitely want to lose being on the top 10. So it makes you want to do what you need to do so you can stay in the top 10. And so it's very motivating to see others on there, but I want to make sure I stay on there as well.
And that is exactly the mentality that we love here. A rising tide rises all boats. But it is very good to see us do our best and to see the reward for it, whether we're in the top 10 or just earning badges or just doing the best that we personally can. So thank you for your great example, Mighty Mouse. Well, that's our WOD, that's our stretch, that's our high-low buffalo. You know what's left, this sweaty selfie. Because does this count if we don't take this selfie? Let's flex on the camera here, guys, and let's take this selfie. Sweaty selfie in 3, 2, 1. And crazy face. And let's put the fist in the middle for the cheer. On 3, 2 claps. Fit crew. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Fit crew. Thank you guys so much. If you enjoy this program, then please give this channel a subscribe, a like, and a share. Thank you very much, and see you in the top 10.